I want to talk to you tonight from a perspective of insecurities. Insecurities, we all deal with them. Some of us have bigger insecurities than others. Some insecurities are some things that could be skin blemishes, they could be physical or mental ailments, but they're insecurities nonetheless. And insecurities are dream stealers sometimes. One of the insecurities I've dealt with for past like 8 or 9 years is this lip of mine. Over here on this side, if you can see from the video, several years ago, probably about 8 years ago, I was at a church event. They threw this big event at the park, barbecue. I mean, just fun, everything for family, and we were playing two-hand touch football. And I had just came back from taking my son to the restroom. And the very next play, when I got back on the field, they threw it to me, but the other team knew that they were going to throw it to me. So one of the young men, he went up for the ball the same time I did, and he went up head first. And when he headbutted me, I think he knocked me out. Honestly, no man wants to admit getting knocked out. I just remember being hit in the head, and then I remember doing a push-up off the ground to kind of look at the ground. But my perspective is, or my testimony is, I had to get stitches in my lip because he split my lip like this, like a V, literally. I can see it just by looking down at it. And this was something that was bothering me for a long time. Right after this church event, our pastor came over. I'm bleeding everywhere, and he's like, what's going on? What do you need me to do? So I'm like, just give me some water. So I don't want to look up because I can see my lip flapping. And I got a lot of people around me. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm looking at all this blood on the ground. So I get some water, try to rinse it off as best I can. Mouth is, it felt like I got hit in the head with a bat on that side of my mouth. I had my bottom tooth came through my bottom lip. I had a scar on the inside of my mouth. My whole left side of my jaw felt like I just ran into a wall or something. So I couldn't eat for a minute. But my point is, I have stitches in my mouth, and I went to church the very next day. So this happened on a Saturday. I went to church the very next day. And the young man, he literally only had like a small scar on the top of his head. Me, I got this big canker sore looking like scab all on my face from the stitches, and people looking at me strange. I'm like, it's not what you think, people. But I dealt with this thing for so long because I felt when I would talk to people, they would stare at my lip. And sometimes it was true. Sometimes it was just all in my head. But isn't that sometimes what the insecurity is? Sometimes we make things up to be much larger than they should be. The whole thing with my lip, it's a scar. It's not going anywhere. I'm still the same person. I feel I still look the same outside of facial hair and whatever else, but it's a scar. So how many times in our lives have we allowed scars to dictate how we interact with people? Scars dictate how we really look at ourselves. Some of the greatest gifts that we possess are not nurtured properly because we are too busy looking at our own insecurities, our fears. What will people think? How will they judge me? Why do I judge myself so much? So I just want to encourage you today. If I can get over this deal with my lip, you can get over your insecurity, with your weight. I can't really do much about my lip. You can get over the insecurity with your speech if you feel like you don't talk eloquently enough or you're not smart enough. Like, there's certain things that you can do for yourself that won't be so much of an insecurity if you work hard at it. So there's some insecurities that people possess, that you may possess, that you can't really do much about. So just kind of accept it. Go with it. But there are some things that you have insecurities about, you can really work hard at it, even if it's one step at a time. I mean, you can't really go forward unless it's one step at a time. Stop thinking so far ahead if that's too much for you. Take baby steps, crawl a little bit, and celebrate the little accomplishments. So if you have whatever insecurities, really sit down and ask yourself, is it worth my happiness? Do I have to focus on it every day? I don't care if you see it every day. I'm looking at my lip here. I don't care anymore at this point. And as long as my wife love it, or I like it, I love it, I'm happy about it. It's part of my character. I don't know. But my point is, I don't focus on it anymore. I remember my wife saying, baby, you're looking at it too much. Stop staring at that thing. And I was like, dang, you know what, baby, you're right. And it took somebody else to see my insecurity and realize and tell me it's not that big of a deal. Nobody cares about that. You still speak the same. People still want to talk to you. And it's a scar nonetheless. So no matter what scars you have, don't let it stop you from growing in certain areas of your life. So that's just my word for this evening. Hopefully I didn't drown this thing out, but we all have scars. It's really how you look at those scars as a blessing, as a learning opportunity, or something that is some sort of motivation to get you to your next level in life. So have a good evening. Love you all.